Hey guys, so here comes the second part of the Q&A session where I look at your questions and try to answer them as detailed as possible. And as I mentioned before, I'm pretty sure these answers would not only help the people who ask these questions, but you too. Consider this video a very important one because it contains a lot of useful information that will help you in your process. I've also put timestamps for each question, but I would recommend you guys to go through the whole video for a complete understanding. So without any further ado, let's get started. So the first question asked by Len here in response to my this video is, how about for spouses as PA living in Canada outland? Do they send email to sponsor or to PA? First of all, I can't really tell what is their current PA status because if they are already living in Canada, then their application must be inland, but they say it's outland. But anyways, Len would like to know who generally receives all the updates regarding their sponsorship application. Is it the sponsor or the principal applicant? So basically, right after the application is submitted, the first AOR, which is the acknowledgement of receipt, is emailed to the sponsor's email address. And then any updates after that gets directly posted to the CSE account, which both the sponsor and the PA can easily access. But along with that, those updates also get sent to the principal applicant's email address. However, if the application was submitted using a representative like a lawyer or any other family member, then no matter what, all the updates are only sent to the representative's email address. This is the reason why a lot of sponsors fill up a form called the IMM 5476 use of representative form, who doesn't want to hire a representative to submit the application on their behalf, but also want to have all the updates themselves related to the application. This way, they not only easily get updates, but they're also able to call CIC anytime for any reason whatsoever. I remember my case where I was the sponsor, but every time I tried calling CSE for an update, they would always turn me down because I was neither the principal applicant and nor the immigration lawyer who submitted the application on my behalf. So for those of you who are still a little bit confused about who gets the updates and who doesn't, let me summarize it down for you. Sponsors can only get updates if they show themselves the representative by filling out the form IMM 5476. Otherwise, all the updates would only go to the principal applicant or any other representative if you have one in your case. But if you don't want to put yourself in all this mess, then simply go to this tracker, type the application number, last name, date of birth, etc., and you'll be able to see it right on your screen. Now the next question from Thiruna is, I received my biometric request letter but haven't got any AOR letter. Is it normal? So let me tell you, this is absolutely normal. Receiving an AOR is the first step towards the smooth processing of the application, but that is not always the case. I've known a lot of applicants who already received the biometrics letter but never received an AOR. But that definitely doesn't mean that there is some lag or fallback in your application. The AOR simply means acknowledgement of receipt, and if you have already received the biometric request, then simply consider your application acknowledged because they would not send you this request if the application was rejected. I've also known some applicants who also received their medicals request along with biometrics without any indication of AOR. So don't be worried if you don't see it in your portal. Now the next question from Sarpreet is, they did not pay the RPRF fee upfront, which is the right to permanent residence fees, and later they received the request from IRCC to pay it. And Sarpreet would like to know if that means their application is approved. Yes, when you receive such a request, that means your application is almost approved. It generally means that your application is pending for a final review by the officer. So right after the completeness check is finished, your application is assigned to a case analyst who does a rigorous check on your file, including the eligibility and all other screenings. It's only after this stage that your application is moved into a queue for the final review by the officer. This is when you receive a RPRF fee payment request, after which it only takes a couple days for you to receive your passport submission request. So as long as nothing alarming comes up in your security screenings, you can consider your application approved. Alright, before I take the next question, if you're liking this video so far, please make sure to leave a thumbs up down here and type in the comments what other questions do you have in your mind related to your application. And for more videos like this, make sure you're hitting that red button that says subscribe or right here that asks you to click. And do you guys like this new format of helping you guys through Q&A? Let me know what you think. Alright, now the next question from Hasue is, my wife lives in Cuba and I will send her application soon. Do you think she should legalize her diploma, birth certificate and marriage certificate by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in her country, or the documents with official stamps are sufficient? So if you guys remember, one of my early videos was about a complete checklist of all the documents that is required to be able to fully submit a sponsorship application. In that video, I talked specifically about what needs to be submitted by the sponsor and the principal applicant. If you want a complete information on that, you can check out this video right here. In that video, I explained that if the birth certificate is in a different language other than English or French, then it needs to be translated into English as well as certified or notarized. Since I believe the official language of Cuba is Spanish, you'll have to get it translated and notarized as well. Talking about the educational documents and marriage certificate, same thing applies. If in another language, have it translated and notarized. However, if all these documents are already in English, then only a photocopy of the originals is to be submitted. No certification required. But if you still want to take some extra steps to make sure everything falls in line and looks more professional and organized, then you can still have the photocopy notarized, no problem with that. Now the next question from Ranjit is, as a sponsor, can I travel after submission of outland sponsorship? To answer this question, please consider two scenarios. The first is, if you're a Canadian citizen, no matter where you reside, you're allowed to sponsor your partner from anywhere in the world. And the same thing applies to you if you want to leave Canada after submitting the application for whatever reason. However, if you're just a permanent resident, then firstly, you're only allowed to be able to sponsor your spouse if you are physically present in Canada. And secondly, in case you do decide to leave Canada while the sponsorship application is in progress, then make sure you stay out of Canada is only for a couple weeks or so. If it takes any longer, you will be putting yourself in a highly risky situation where your application may get denied on the grounds of your residency. Your absence out of Canada is seen negatively by the RCC, which further delays the process because now they are not sure if you want to be a resident of Canada or not. I will also suggest the same for Canadian citizens because even though you will not be questioned about your residency, but it might result in some delays. Now the next question from Fit for 3 Days. I heard that there's online process as well to submit application. Do we still have to submit all the documents via mail? Do we need to have physical signatures on all the forms? I believe you must have not heard about the online way of submitting your application that I have talked about in this video. So rather than giving you a quick answer, I'll suggest you to fully understand the process by clicking right here on this link. Talking about the physical signatures, there has been a lot of debate going on the internet about whether you just need to digitally sign the forms or take the printout and manually sign the forms. But hear me out now. I haven't come across anyone who got rejected or denied because they chose one way of signing their forms over another. IRCC has no problem with what type of signatures you choose, manual or digital. If you have no issues with printing the forms, manually signing it and then rescanning it back, then good for you. Please proceed. On the other hand, if you don't want to go through all that mess, just sign it digitally through a PDF signature app and you're good to go as well. There are a couple digital forms that you're required to fill out for spousal sponsorship. Those forms are IMM 0008, IMM 5669, IMM 5406, and IMM 5562. It's only the IMM 1344 and IMM 5532 that ask for signatures right after you finish filling it up. So it all depends on your preference how you want to deal with it. Mode of signature, digital or manual, doesn't really matter. What matters is that all the slots asking for signatures are indeed signed. Recently, one of my subscribers got back to me on how his application was returned only because he missed one signature spot on the IMM 5476 user representative form. So I will tell you guys the same thing what I told him. Be very careful about the completeness of every form. Now the next question again from Fit for 3 Days. My spouse already had passport before marriage. Does she need to change name on passport before submitting spousal sponsorship application? Okay, so getting your spouse's name changed on the passport is not at all a compulsion. But that doesn't mean that I'm asking you all to not go for it. I personally had my wife's last name changed on her passport and all of her IDs right after we got married. Even though it's not a mandatory requirement, but I personally believe that it puts a very positive impact on your application, and it also significantly reduces the fact that IRCC official might think your marriage is a fraud. And if you do decide to go ahead, then make sure to have your spouse's other IDs changed as well on top of the passport, because you'll be in need of them too in the process. Now the next question from Nisha is, my husband applied my spouse PR file in May end, but still we didn't get AOR. Approximately 2 months have passed. Can we apply for visitor visa, or we need AOR for visitor visa too? And will visitor visa affect my spouse visa application badly? First of all, if you ever get a chance, please watch my this video where even the thumbnail clearly explains that if you have already applied for the sponsorship, then there's no need to wait. Just go ahead with the visitor visa. So that will be the answer to your first and second question. You don't need to wait for AOR to be able to apply for the visitor visa. And talking about the third question, will the visitor application affect your spousal application in a negative way? See, currently the visitor visa category is undergoing a very uncomfortable route, which is proving devastating for a lot of applicants, especially those who applied for a visa for their partners. I have no idea why, but mostly the applicants who are a spouse of a Canadian resident are majorly getting rejected. This is something something that I've also talked about in my previous videos, and the main reason behind these rejections is that the applicants are failing to prove that they will return back home after a certain period of time. So the scenario is quite the opposite here. Your application for a visitor visa will not affect your spousal application. Instead, your spousal application could become the reason for your visitor visa rejection. Mainly because a foreign national coming to Canada just for the purpose of meeting their partner are highly unlikely to return back to their home country after spending a limited time. Take my wife as an example. If she somehow gets herself a visitor visa approved while her spousal application is in progress, then I'll just do anything to make sure she doesn't have to go back after her 6 months are over. This is what the IRCC officials predict in advance. And see, I'm not trying to discourage you guys or anything, but you will have to think logically here. Right here in this video, I've talked about all the steps you can take to make sure you do get approved for a visitor visa. All that it takes is a very cautious and careful file preparation and knowledge of all the ins and outs. Alright guys, leave your love with the thumbs up down below. If you think this video helped you in any way, I will keep posting these Q&A video sessions because I think this is the best way to help you guys in your queries and simultaneously cover different topics. Let me know what you guys think, and guys, keep posting your questions in the comments below. And stay tuned for my next video. And make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And make sure to check my other videos as well, where I've covered specific topics related to immigration and how you can bring your loved ones in Canada. I wish you best of luck in your application, and I'll see you again with another interesting topic on Canadian Desi.